up, everybody? Welcome out to our 7:30 live stream here every Wednesday night. We try to accommodate. I hope you have a good week. Hopefully everything's going good for you, and hopefully you enjoy our show tonight. We have a pretty good topic for this evening. We dug a little deep tonight, one even deeper than we've probably ever gone before, other than maybe our worldview tattoo episode that we did, our history episode. So we're just gonna give it a minute, let everybody get in before we get rolling. If you're out there in the internet land, say what's up in chat, let me know you're out there, and we'll get going. I see we do have a few people already, which is awesome. Hello, hello, hello. Thanks for hanging out with us. And yeah, I'm kind of curious actually how many of you have even heard of this gentleman. Let me know if it sounds okay, make sure it looks okay before we get too deep into this. I can adjust accordingly if need be. I just need a quick thumbs up. Wow, Drag, I am shocked to see you here, sir. I know it is super late for you out there in Spain. I have to say that's still got to be one of the coolest things for me is that we have people from all over the world that's come and hang out with us. All right, cool. Not too low, not too loud. That's what I like to see. Just double checking all my stuff. Tonight we're going to talk about a gentleman, Martin Hildebrandt. Now, there are probably a lot of people that don't even know who Martin Hildebrandt was, I should say. There probably are people that may know his daughter/wife. Yes, I did say that. We'll get into that in a moment. It's not as seedy as it sounds, though, folks. Trust me. But she, Nora Hildebrandt, went on to become a very famous tattooed lady. But I'm not saying that Martin got buried in the sunlight. I'm just saying it seems like the further we go back with tattoo history, the less amount of people know about these particular tattoo artists. I'm happy to see we have a decent crowd. Makes me smile, makes me know we're going to keep doing these Wednesday night things. I do enjoy them. I try to utilize these Wednesday nights for people in particular, tattoo artists in particular, that I just can't get enough info to do a full episode. So, cool little spot for me to do these, pass a little knowledge and, maybe turn you on to some people that you've never even heard about. Now, these are always going to be high level, back of the napkin kind of episodes. Not super, super detailed because, let's face it, some of these people that we're going to do these for Wednesday nights, there's just not a lot of information about them. But they need to be talked about and represented as far as the history of tattooing. So there's nothing wrong with shining a little bit of light on some people that you just can't get a lot of information about. So Andreas, thank you for hanging out with us. I'm stoked that you finally made it to do a live stream with us as well. Always glad to see new people coming in. All right, so we are going to get rolling with this bad boy. What I'd like to do is, what's up, Brewster? Good to see you, brother. Hopefully you're feeling better. Why don't we do this? Why don't we give you some pictures to see, just to get this rolling while I read some of this information that I have. Now, this is a fairly well-known picture of Martin Hildebrandt. Matter of fact, it's the picture that I used for tonight's thumbnail. Did a quick, remove the background, cut them out, make them look pretty. And, this is one of those ones that we have seen. There are not a lot of pictures on Martin Hildebrandt. Matter of fact, I have another picture that we'll get into here in a moment that is said to be Martin Hildebrandt, but we're going to do a quick comparison, and I have my doubts, unless he was one of the first people to do a cover-up. We'll get into that shortly. Sarah, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Much appreciated. We love your support. Thank you, thank you, thank you. While we're getting ready to jump into this, folks, if you can, hit that like and share button for me. This way we could possibly get it out to more people and let people know that we're here hanging out, having a good time. Welcome them into our Tattoos and Review family. Okay, so let's get into some of the details here. Hildebrandt is a German-born tattoo artist, and he's recognized as the first professional tattoo artist in America. Now, this is a walking a fine line here, because he's not necessarily the first. He's the first professional. So he's the first person to actually own a shop that provided tattooing services, if that makes sense. So I'm sure there were plenty of people that were doing, hand poke tattoos prior to Martin Hildebrandt in America, but he was the first one to actually open up a shop. He immigrated into the United States in the 1840s, and he had his shop in New York City. He began tattooing in 1846 while serving as a sailor aboard the frigate USS United States, where he learned the craft from another sailor. Unfortunately, there is no information on the other sailor that taught him how to tattoo. That would have been an awesome piece of information for me to get for tonight, but no matter how hard I looked, I could not find that name. Now, I don't know if it's never been mentioned, never been written down, or if anybody out there in the internet world knows who that person was. I'd be glad to hear it. I could not find any info. So, tattooing amongst sailors at sea was a common practice in the mid-19th century. In the 1850s, he traveled to Japan as part of the Perry expedition. During the American Civil War, Hildebrandt served as a soldier in the Army of the Potomac and traveled extensively, tattooing thousands of soldiers and sailors from camp to camp. His work during this period often included patriotic symbols, names, and regimental insignias, which served as both personal mementos and identification for soldiers who might be killed in action. So, kind of like when we talked about Apache Harry doing the Social Security numbers on people in the Bowery, when the whole Social Security thing came about. Same kind of principle. So if you're given a tattoo with your name, your regiment number, any of that information, something were to happen to you, they would know who you were. Not a bad idea, really. I guess that would be considered pre-dog tags, right? Hildebrandt stated that he marked thousands of sailors and soldiers, and that many were recognized by these marks after being killed or wounded. His tattoos often featured insignias, military insignias, family names, helped ensure soldiers' bodies could be identified in the case of death. So we're talking it's cool to have a tattoo thing. When I read this, to me, it was almost like a necessity. It was almost a must-have for those people that were going through the war. Hildebrandt's influence extended to the development of tattooing techniques and tools, likely setting mentored Samuel O'Reilly, who later patented the first electric tattoo machine in 1891. Now, we talked about that last week with Elmer Getchell and the whole controversy behind the tattoo machine. I am not 100% sure about the whole Samuel O'Reilly connection with Hildebrandt. It is feasible. They were in the same places during the same time frames, but I could not find anything concrete for that information. To me, like I said, same places, same time frames, it is possible. Now, despite the lack of records, Hildebrandt's impact on bridging cultural gaps and bringing tattooing into public eye is undeniable. He is regarded by tattoo enthusiasts and historians as a pioneering figure in the evolution of tattooing in America, which is why we're covering him tonight. The amount of lineage that comes from Hildebrandt and where we are today is attributed directly to Hildebrandt, especially from a professional aspect. And when I say that, I mean in the United States. Obviously, in the UK, you had your people. In Japan, you had your people. Throughout the world, there were, you have your particular people. But I'm talking about American tattooing. So, not to offend anyone. Now, we get into Nora Hildebrandt. Martin tattooed Nora Hildebrandt, who became one of the first tattooed ladies to perform in the United States. While often presented as his daughter, she was actually his common-law wife. There are conflicting reports regarding Nora Hildebrandt's relationship with Martin, with some sources suggesting she could have been his wife or daughter or a complete stranger who adopted the surname for her stage act. Now, there were some testing that was done later on, and I need to find that real quick. They said that there was actually no connection, I guess, through DNA documents. They're saying that the relationship was complex and it is subject to historical debate, with varying accounts describing them as a father and daughter, some describing them as common law, husband and wife, or simply professional associates. I could not really nail this down. So I don't know. I was always told it was his daughter, but as I started to dig deeper into this, there were mentions of it being the common law wife, meaning they were together so long that they became husband and wife, but never officially got married. Nora Hildebrandt was often presented to the public as Martin Hildebrandt's daughter. Promotional materials and narratives from her performances frequently depicted her as the daughter of Martin Hildebrandt. So even the flyers that she was using for the circuses and whatever to do her tattooed lady act was stating that she was the daughter of Martin Hildebrandt. One narrative even suggests that Nora convinced her father to tattoo her to save his life. Now, this was during this time frame, there were people that did these sensational stories of, being kidnapped by American Indians or Native Americans and, being held down and being tattooed. I think we even talked about it on here. If not here, it was definitely on a Sunday night show where we talked about Captain Constantinople or whatever his name is, the Greek guy that, that was supposedly held down and tattooed all over his body. Some of these things are true, maybe, but then there are a lot of these were stories. that were made to sell the product, which was them being a tattooed person, getting the tattoos under extenuating circumstances, being forced to get tattooed, not actually just being, hey, want to get tattooed? You know what I'm saying? It was like the bigger the story, the bigger the crowd it would draw. So, despite being presented as her father and daughter, some sources indicate that Nora was actually Martin Hildebrandt's common-law wife, which we just said. She was reportedly covered by tattoos by her first husband, right? Now, Nora was born in England under a different name, was not biologically related to Martin Hildebrandt. She met Martin, a professional tattoo artist, and allowed him to tattoo her entire body in 1882. While they did not officially marry, he was often presented as either her father or husband. She adopted his surname and became known as America's first professional tattooed lady, largely due to the association with Martin. Now, let's give you a quick picture of her. So here's a decent sized picture of her. Very, I believe this is from the Bray collection again. There's also, I found this as well. This looked like it was an old card, like a picture card. I don't know if this was out of a document that's, was showing her performances, but you can actually see at the very bottom, it says Nora Hildebrandt. And then here is probably the most recognizable picture of her. And as you can see, she is heavily tattooed from the neck down. Does not look like she has anything on her hands, but she's definitely got a lot of tattoos. Now, let's get back into Martin. I did look into Martin Hildebrandt's his ship and tried to get some information about that. Let's see here. So, for some reason, I can't find that information. I apologize. He served, okay, here we go. He served aboard the USS United States from 1846 to 1849, tattooing seamen throughout his time on the ship. He actually started to practice tattooing in 1856 while working as a sailor. So, there you go. Now, here's where we get into the career of Martin Hildebrandt. As I stated, he was already doing tattoos as a sailor, and then he also did tattoos during the Civil War. Well, in 1846, Martin Hildebrandt opened what is considered to be the first American tattoo parlor in New York City, located on Oak Street. After the Civil War, he made tattooing his full-time profession. His shop attracted a diverse clientele, including soldiers from both sides of the Civil War. He tattooed a wide range of people, including mechanics, farmers, ladies, and gentlemen. Hildebrandt's work was characterized by black and red ink, utilizing India ink and vermilion. Records indicate that he was tattooing in New York City as early as 1859. So that doesn't make sense, because if it's saying that the first shop was opened in 1846, his establishment of a stable and professional environment helped shift tattooing from a fringe activity to a more accepted art form. And we've talked about that before, where during the mid to late 1800s, tattooing was not as lowbrow as it turned out to be a little later on in history. There were a lot of socialites and kings and the upper crust people getting tattooed. So it wasn't just the dregs of society that were getting tattooed. It was considered to be a very cool piece of culture. All right. So before we get into the rest of this, man, I want to say what's up to all you guys that are hanging out with us tonight. So what's up, Sarah? OG Sarah hanging out with us. We got our moderator, Nikki. We got Drag hanging out in Spain. Got Fat Cracker out in LA via the Lower East Side. Who else we got? Got Chris Hawkins hanging out with us. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight, Chris. Andres Ortiz. Sorry, dude. Good Lord. We got Rooster Man hanging out. I'm good. Good to see you, brother. I'm glad you're doing all right, man. I know you were a little under the weather there for a bit, so I'm happy to hear you're doing all right, dude. So yeah, man, we got some other people watching that aren't in chat, which is fine. We encourage chatting, but if you're not the type, that's fine as well. Not a big deal. Yeah. So, what else do we got? So, Hildebrandt's influence on tattooing extended to the development of tattooing techniques and tools. Already talked about that. Hildebrandt was also married later on to a Mary Hildebrandt, and they had a son named Frank. Now, Frank is an important part of this story because of the end. In 1885, after Nora had left to go on tour, Hildebrandt was arrested for disorderly conduct and subsequently transferred to the New York City Asylum for the Insane. His son reportedly charged him with insanity, leading to his transfer to an asylum. He died in the Ward's Island Asylum in 1890. The exact location of Oak Street, where his parlor was located, is now unknown, as it was razed. I'm an ass. In 1947 for public housing construction. That is a shame. I will say that is one of the things that annoys me the most about the United States. The UK, specifically London, let's say, they do a really, really good job of holding on to buildings as long as they can. I wish we did that more here, because it's instances like this, instances like the Bowery, where, important shops and stuff disappeared. Now, granted, okay, to the general public, maybe, if it has to do with tattooing, maybe it's not like that much of a historical significance. But I think that there's certain things that I wish we could hold on to. We just have a bad habit here in the United States of, it gets old, we knock it down, we go to the new one. We build something new. And it drives me nuts. Got my tattoos and review mug from Chris Hawkins from his laser etching. Now, one of the things that people from the UK complain about sometimes is the grade listing. And that's why they have a bunch of old abandoned buildings in the UK. Because the grade listings, are so strict that it's a cost a fortune to fix and redo buildings. So they just get left abandoned because nobody can do anything with them because of their grade listing. Once they're grade listed, I don't know the grading scale or whatever, but, like a 2 or higher, it's virtually impossible to change anything. So, what else do we got here on Mr. Hildebrandt? Sailor. His nickname was called. I'm like, is this official? But they have he went by the nickname Old Martin. I don't know if that had something to do with his sailor lifestyle or what, but it came up multiple times. And I found that interesting. I'm like, okay, nicknamed Old Martin. So some of the specific techniques and materials that are attributed to Martin Hildebrandt. Techniques and materials, needle configurations. Hildebrandt's method involved the binding together a half dozen number 12 needles in a slanting form. The number 12 needles were roughly 0.35 millimeter in diameter. That means absolutely nothing to me because I'm not a tattoo artist, but maybe Drag can comment on that as he is a tattoo artist. Obviously I know the difference between needles and stuff like that, but I don't know what the significance of the slant is. These bound needles were dipped into India ink or vermilion. The ink would then be pricked into the skin as he was doing hand poke tattoos, because this is prior to the invention of the electric tattoo machine. He primarily used India ink for black and vermilion for red. And these homemade black and red inks were applied using steel needles, which we just said. It was a slow and painful hand poke process. Up until the late 19th century, tattoo artists commonly used hand needle poke method for various tattoos. Now, there was also, obviously, no references for his tattoo work that I could see. There are some pictures that, on Nora, right? But the pictures aren't detailed enough for you to go, oh, okay, I could, you know what I'm saying? Like, you could see him, but you can't see him. And we're talking about way too early in this beginning. So Drag just said he lives in a 300-year-old house. There you go. That's a perfect example. It's crazy. I was bumping around Philly last weekend, and being from Philly, you would think that I would actually take more, pride in the historical parts of Philly. To be fair, it's just a pain in the balls to get to and to get around in that area. So I haven't really been down that way for like pleasure in quite a long time. I mean, I was a little kid. So, I made a point of going to the cemetery where Ben Franklin is buried. I went to the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier in Washington Square Park, Independence Hall. I mean, I didn't go into Independence Hall, but, I think that some of those buildings are 1750s maybe. Anything prior to that, long gone. You can go to London or, a smaller town or whatever in the UK, and there's plenty of buildings that are that age. It's just one of those things, man. I don't think really until like the last, let's say 100 years, we really didn't, it wasn't a thing for us to hold on to historical valued buildings. We have them, don't get me wrong, but it just seems like it's more of a thing over there than it is here, which sucks. And again, we're talking about tattoo history. So in reality, I mean, like, we're into it, right? That's why we're here tonight. That's why we hang out. That's why you check out my channel. But in reality, the common person doesn't give two shits about tattoo history. There's people that do tattoos. There's people that get tattoos. They really don't give a shit about tattoo history. So to save somebody's shop just because it was who it was, yeah, I don't think you're going to get a lot of people to buy into that, but that's just me preaching. So let's check out some other pictures. Now, here's another picture I found that is attributed to being Martin Hildebrandt. I'm very suspect about this picture. So this is supposed to be Martin Hildebrandt. Now, I'm actually going to blow this up and make it all. Let me see here. Let me unlock it. So this way I can make it bigger for you all. Because I just wanted to show you guys something. It didn't make sense to me. We're going to cover up some of this screen here just to prove my point. You see this right in here? I mean, this like, you can see the three sailed ship. You can see the emblems on the left and right shoulders. They look like military insignias with the neck wrap. Looks like it was some type of snake or necklace. And then he has a giant rock of ages on his stomach. Now we're going to go back to the first picture that I showed you guys. The only thing I could think of, there's no way this is the same this is not, they're not the same people. This yellowed version that we're looking at right now is the one that I find most commonly attributed to Martin Hildebrandt. There's no way. It's not the same person. So there's been stories that it said this is Martin Hildebrandt, and I'm like, I don't think it is, man. That's why I didn't use it for the thumbnail. This one is guaranteed as far as I'm concerned. I got this from a very trustworthy source, and I am going to say that this is Hildebrandt, not this other version. So don't get me wrong, awesome tattoos. I love it with the schooner, whatever, and the Rock of Ages there. But definitely does not look like the same exact tattoos. When I first saw this and it was smaller, I thought, well, you know, man, maybe he blasted over this sternum and stomach area with this patriotic memorial. But if you even look up into right above the pec area, it's not the same. They're not even the same tattoos. So, yeah, I don't think so. Anyway, it was worth a shot, right? I figured I'd show that to you guys because I've seen this one being stated as Martin Hildebrandt, and then the yellowed version that I have is, I feel like that's the true. Yeah, that's what I thought, Rooster, because there's no way they don't even match up. And that's why I wanted to include it tonight, though, because there were multiple sources that said that second picture was Martin Hildebrandt. I'm going, not even the same tattoos. I mean, like, you know, I'm no expert by any means, but I could definitely tell the difference between this tattoo and that tattoo. Now, like I said, in all due fairness, if it was one of those situations where it was like it got blasted over, okay, cool, I could see that. But the ones that are up here in the shoulder area, they don't even match, man, and they're not cover-ups. So, most tattoo artists don't give a shit about tattoo history. That's a fact. I've talked to so many tattooers, and so many of them don't know shit about the history and don't give, yeah. You know, we're going to do our part, Cracker. We're going to do our part, man. I'm not saying that I'll make a change, but I'm not going to give up either. So, we're just going to do our best and keep chugging along, man, and doing our thing, right? You know, hopefully, when we start to do more of these on Wednesday nights, we could actually dig a little, you know, we're not so far back in the history books that we can actually have, you know, longer in-depth conversations about these people. But I felt as though Martin Hildebrandt was worthy of covering tonight because of him being considered the first professional tattoo artist in America. You know, that's huge. So, think about the year photos were drawn or black and white. Yeah. I mean, Fat Cracker just said, I just had a conversation with a very successful tattooer here in LA, and they didn't know anything about the history or even modern history. Well, you know, so I'm going to pose a question, and this is for everybody, not just between me and Cracker, but how much of that do you feel as though is because it wasn't covered during their apprenticeship? Or maybe they didn't serve an apprenticeship. Now, everybody that I've talked to that did a, you know, legit apprenticeship has said that they talked about the history of tattooing throughout their apprenticeship and were taught certain things and taught about the lineage and the family trees of tattooing. So, just a thought. Yeah, Chris Hawkins just said, how could you not be interested? Yeah, it makes no sense to me. I mean, if you are have chosen this to be your path of your career, you would think that you would want to know every little bit of history you could get your hands on and soak it up like a sponge. But there's just people out there that don't really care. They are more about like the now. What am I going to make? What am I making tomorrow? What do I got booked out next month? What new techniques can I learn? And that's fine too. There's no fault in that. It's just I would think that if you were really that hardcore and that deep into it, that you would want to know the history that came before you. But that's just me. I mean, not everybody thinks like I do. Bad tattoo history channel on YouTube, or best yet, you and the Rooster Man said it. Tattoos in review, period. I appreciate that, Rooster, even though I just fumbled all over that. To me, they just culture vultures. What I can get out of tattooing and give nothing back is how they think. Well, man, hopefully I make up for some of those people. It's crazy to me, man, because like I was thinking about it tonight because I went to buy a Powerball ticket, right? I'm a firm believer, if you don't play, you don't win. So I bought my $10 Powerball ticket, praying to God that one of these times I actually hit that 100+ million so I could quit my job and do tattoo history full time and actually fucking hire some people to help me do all this crap. It would be amazing. I would love to just be able to travel, shoot interviews, and have everybody else do all the stuff behind the scenes. Chef's kiss. But then I was thinking about it. I was like, man, I know Jay Brown up at the Northwest Tattoo Museum is going through some serious hard times right now, man, and he got a GoFundMe. I think it's still up. If you want to look it up, he's got a GoFundMe going for the museum. The dude's got, he's missing half a leg. He's constantly in and out of the hospital. He's running a tattoo shop. He's running the museum. The dude's doing his best to keep everything going. And he's got a GoFundMe. So if you got the income to do it, man, go check it out. Maybe you can donate $5, whatever, man. Any little bit helps. But I thought to myself, man, that's a cat that I would be like, if I just won the freaking $150 million Powerball, bro, I would totally just be like, bang, dude, here's a mill. Keep it going. Build it up bigger. Keep adding. You run out, hit me up, man. You know what I'm saying? Because that's how much it means to me. It's just, I would love to be able to put more time and effort into this channel. But I got to tell you, man, I'm burning the candle at both ends right now. Like Fat Cracker actually said on Sunday night about, hey, man, did you ever think about doing a 2-hour? And I didn't actually answer him, but him and I talked after the fact on Instagram. And I said, look, man, I've actually considered it. We've talked about doing like maybe like, let's say if like Monday is a holiday or whatever, we could do a 2-hour. Or maybe like, I don't know, man, like a holiday eve or something, right? I don't drink. I don't go out and party. So for me to do like, Thanksgiving Eve or something would be easy, right? No problem. Do 2 hours. I do 3 hours, whatever. As long as people were in here and everybody was having a good time and everything was flowing, I'm in. But now, with like Wednesday night and Sunday night, it's a bit rough, man. Like I got to be at work at 6:30 in the morning, right? So like on Sunday nights, if I would go an extra hour on a Sunday night, it takes me an hour to break down after the show's over. And, by that time I get home, eat dinner, blah, 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 it's like I'm like jumping right back into bed. So it's a little rough to do that on a Sunday night. It's definitely tough to do it on a Wednesday night as well. But, if that's something that would interest you all, definitely let me know in the comments. And if you're watching this after the fact, please let me know in the comments. We do read the comments on every video and every live stream. So please feel free to comment. Unless it's a shitty comment, then it gets banged by the filter and I don't see it. But you know, what's up, Nathan? Thanks for joining us, man. Yeah, so it would be something I'd be down for, like on a special occasion or something like that, for sure. If there's interest in it, I love hanging out with you guys, man. You know, Rooster Man just said, tattooing has been my life for 44 years, and I'm still learning the history. Why do you think I'm here, other than I love Buck and Justin? I appreciate that, Rooster. Drag just said I get up and think about tattoos and go to bed with the same thought. It's our own world, the tattoo world. Yeah, so Jay definitely needs some help, and I've been meaning to bring that up, and I haven't had a chance to do that, but I hate to see the dude going through it, man, because I've only met him in person one time, but I've talked to him multiple times. Really, really good dude, and he really loves the history of tattooing because of his apprenticeship and his family. You know, the Rossini family, huge history in tattooing, especially on the West Coast. So Chris Hawkins said, I like that for holidays, but I get up real early. Same. It's tough, man. Thanks for breaking it down, Buck. Yes to 2 hours. Yeah, man. Like I said, it's just, it's not that I can't do it, because there's guys that do marathon streams on here, man. Matter of fact, vidIQ, who I use for my stats and stuff like that, they did like some crazy like 20-hour marathon or whatever. And what they do is they actually just like look at people's YouTube channels and critique them, and then give you advice. And I used to tune into their live stream every Tuesday, and always submitted my channel. Never got picked. And then the day that they do the freaking marathon, I had to work. I had something going on. I missed it. I was the very first channel that they picked, but I was able to go back and watch it, which was awesome. They gave me some very good critiques, and they actually gave me some serious kudos for the page, which was awesome. But yeah, man, that'd be something we could look into, man, for future hanging out and doing stuff. I mean, ultimately, dude, if we were to do something like that, like some kind of long 2-hour, 3-hour thingy, I want to get that freaking phone line opened up where you guys could call in and, talk about whatever you want to talk about in the tattoo world. Get stuff off your chest. I mean, I don't know how I would do it to keep all the wackadoos out, so this way it doesn't turn into a shit show, but I would definitely be interested in doing something like that. So, yeah. But if there's interest, I'm in. Speaking of conventions, I just want to get this out of the way real quick. October 10th through 12th in Sebring, Florida. Tattoo Socialite Festival. It's an all-female tattoo show. If you have the availability to go, I highly suggest you check it out. Frankie Scorpion runs it. She's an awesome chick. She's part of the Inkvasion magazine family. And then also the Heritage Arts Tattoo Show in Roanoke, Virginia, October 10th through 12th. I was trying desperately to get there. I still may. I don't know, man. If I do make it, it's going to be like a last-minute layup. I'm also trying to get out to LA in December to go sit in with Baba. Try to get some interviews done out there. I'm looking to try to do like December 11th through the 15th or 16th. It's going to be tough though, man, especially with it being around Christmas time, dude. Like the airports are going to be off the hook. But if I can make it happen, I'll make it happen. So if I got any West Coasters out there that listen to our show, I'll let you know if I do that. I would love to meet each and every one of you if I can possibly do that. So I'll let you know. I'll fill you in. And then if I do that, I'll send some pictures of me and Fat Cracker hanging out. And maybe I can actually hand deliver a 6X shirt to him instead of trying to mail it. Let me take a swig out of my ice cold. God damn, that's cold, dude. Those mugs, man, they hold the cold. Mugs provided by Chris Hawkins, Ohio Laser and Plasma Cutting. If you are looking for any kind of laser cutting products, like the mentioned Tattoos and Review mug that I'm drinking out of right now, awesome product, veteran owned, good company. Got all your office needs, man, for any kind of stuff. Maybe your little, you need cups made for your company, Christmas, whatever. And then also, we got Fat Cracker in the house hanging out with us tonight. If anybody's going to LA or is around LA tattoo tours up and running. And I think that Fat Cracker corrected me. I said last week or the week before it was hour and a half, but it's more like 2 to 3 hours, depending on which package you go with. So there you go. I'm always trying to support anybody in the tattoo industry that I can. Always try to support anybody that's listening to our channel. So we had Irish that comes in on occasion. He has his own YouTube channel. He asked me in chat if we do any tattoo critiques. I said, nah, that's not really our deal, dude. I know I probably shouldn't have named the channel Tattoos in Review because we don't really review anybody's tattoo work. At the time, I thought I was being slick with the name, but we don't really do that. But I said, hey, man, if you want to send in some work and let us take a look at it, we could definitely ooh and ah over it. I'm not going to bash you. I'm not going to critique it. It's just not my style, dude. I don't get into that. I think that there's other channels out there that do that. I think some of those people are a little harsh. And, yeah, I don't want to get wrapped up into that thing. Seems like a pissing match to me, dude. Not interested, man. That's not my deal. But if anybody has tattoos that they want to, check out or want us to check out or whatever, feel free, man. Send them in to us. info tattoosinreview@gmail.com. You can always email them to me. info tattoosinreview@gmail.com. That is our email address. Feel free to send in your work. Especially if you're a listener, man, and you get something new, send them in. I'm in. Always love seeing new tattoos, dude. Oh, there you go. Irish just showed up. I was just explaining, Irish, that we don't do critiques of tattoos, but we will be more than happy to look at anybody's work that they either did or got done. All about that, man. I'm definitely looking to see about getting the tattoo set up with Eddie. I'm getting the itch to get new ink. So Andres Ortiz got an appointment at Spotlight next week with Carlos. Talk about a legendary spot to check out. Yeah, man, for sure, dude. Spotlight, Bob Roberts, son Charlie Roberts, killing it out there. If you haven't seen it, check out my Bob Roberts episode that I did. Yeah, it's all good, Irish. Like I said, man, if you want us to take a look at some stuff you did or whatever, feel free, dude. Email me. I'm in. Fat Cracker, Chris, Laser, Sacrilege, and Tattooing. Andres, absolutely, man. I don't drink, but, you could buy me a Monster or a Diet Pepsi. I'm in. Man, I really do want to meet people. It's, that's the fun about doing this. And it's weird, man, because, like, I have people that recognize me or whatever. Not that I get it all the time, dude. I'm not that fucking famous. I'm not famous at all, actually. But, man, and they're like, they act like they're afraid to come up and talk to me. I'm like, nah, dude, I'm just an average guy, man. I love it, dude. I want to hear from you, man. I'm all about meeting new people. My family used to call me like what are you, the fucking mayor? And part of that was because I was in the biker community, man, and no matter what event I would go to, I would know people because, I was around for a long time. So it just kind of went hand in hand. But I'm also, as much as I look like I can be mean, because I have resting bitch face, I'm actually pretty nice and talkative once I, break the ice. It's the initial getting me past that. But once I get past that, you're going to never shut me up. Friendly Frank, there you go. My name's not Frank. But anyway, yeah, man. If I do any type of traveling, what I'll do is I'll probably post it on our Instagram page and say, hey, this is where we're traveling to, or actually in our community. I do use our community a lot. I posted a picture the other day in our members section. It was a behind the scenes picture of our setup at Justin's shop, which looks all nice and clean when it's on camera. And then if you pull back the camera and you see it, and it looks like a complete shit show with cords and stuff all over the place, man. I give Justin mad props, dude, for letting me do this in his shop, because it is definitely disruptive to his business, right? He actually closes an hour early to help to let me set up and do this at his shop. But we have to move tables around and stuff like that, and he's my boy, so it's Spotlight is opening a museum next door. That's what I had heard. Hopefully that gets done. I would love to see that. I'm all about seeing new museums, man. Locally here, we got the Tattoo Tonys at under my skin. But I also want to make it down to Baltimore. Baltimore, from what I understood, has a really, really nice tattoo museum. So that's on my list as well. And then I want to make it out to Ohio to see the Al Shifley Museum. How close to Poconos are you, bro? Next time back in PA, I'll have to hit you up. I don't know, man, like hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes. I think that's about how long it took me to get to Ronnie's shop up in East Stroudsburg. So that's Poconos, basically. It was very cool to see the behind the scenes. Yeah, I mean, I try to, give you guys a little bit of that extra stuff for being members to the page. I got to figure out how to upload unedited full episodes on the members only area. I don't know. I'm trying to figure that out because, some of it's super long and there's a lot of pauses and ooms and ahs that are taken out of it and whatnot. But, that'll be something I'm working on behind the scenes as well. Pretty much the only one in LA. The next one is Outer Limits, Long Beach, the Pike. Yeah, so it's another place I'd love to go see. Even though, Carrie did an interview with a gentleman that, Anyway, enough said about that. Chris Hawkins said, I can't wait to get out there, Cracker. Yeah, man. I'm looking forward to the possibility of going out to LA, not only to hang with my boy Baba, but if I do make this out there, I could potentially have a game changer of an interview that happens. So I'm not going to tell you who, because in case it doesn't happen, but it's a game changer. Spotlight feels like a museum anyways with the one that they are building. So much original Bob Roberts Flash, legendary shit. Yeah, I'm sure, dude. I think that I love the stuff that I've seen Bob Roberts do. I don't really feel like I said that too much during the episode that I did for him. I think when I try to do those episodes, I try to stay neutral and just kind of do the facts and whatever. But I have mad respect for Bob Roberts, dude. It's one of those guys. There's certain people that I wish I could have met. You know what's crazy, dude? Coney Island Freddie's daughter has made comments within the past 2 or 3 days on the Coney Island episode and a couple of the Ronnie Delacqua episodes. And I gotta, dude, it made me feel good, dude. It made me feel like I'm doing the right thing by doing these. Like, she loved the Coney Island episode. She loved hearing about her dad, hearing stories about her dad. It just, to me, it made me go, dude, you're doing the right thing, man. You're going down the right path. Stuff like that just makes me feel like this is it, dude. I'm doing the right thing. San Diego has Tahiti Felix's is also a tattoo shop and museum. Beautiful place. Yeah, I've heard that as well. So hopefully when I'm out in Hawaii, you know, I get to check out some legendary shops while I'm out there. I also had a gentleman that he's from Honolulu who tattoos hit me up on TikTok. And I said that, yeah, man, I'm kind of be out there. And he was like, bro, you got to hit me up when you get here, man. We got to hang out for a little bit. And I'm like, yeah, dude, absolutely. I'm in. You know, I'm on vacation, so I'm going to try not to do too much tattoo and review stuff. But, you know, some stuff kind of happens. It happens. I actually rented a convertible for 2 days so I could drive up to the North Shore in a convertible Mustang. So I'm looking forward to that. I've paid a deposit to go out. Now it's just time and money. There you go. Dude, when are you looking to go out to LA, Chris? Visit China. Yeah, that ain't happening. First of all, I don't even think we can go to China. I think our passports are banned from China, but that would be rocking. You know, I would really like to go to Japan. But Jesus Christ, man, we're talking about, I think, 2 days just to get there. For me, anyway. That's a freaking hike, dude. Dana had original Tahiti Felix Flash in his shop. Yeah, he actually has Tahiti Felix stuff in the book. The Dana Brunson, American Tattoo Family book. He has some Tahiti Felix stuff in there. I think that that shop, they just had one of their artists leave. He's been there for like 16 years, 17 years. I just saw it on Instagram. I don't remember who it was, but there you go, Drag. Going to Japan next year. Yeah, but that's probably a hell of a lot closer for you if you're going from Spain. Rooster, I am definitely going to go check out Jerry's old shop. Believe it or not, Medusa is trying to hook me up with the gentleman that's running it. So I got some stuff in play. I also spoke to Winona at Norfolk. She invited me, hey, when you come out, make sure you stop by. So I got to hit her up. She was married to Jack Rudy at one time. She was married to a couple other pretty big name tattooers from what I understood. Baba called her the Black Widow of tattooing. I didn't really want to get into that story, but I was like, okay. She was super nice, though. Apparently, she had like $1 million legs or something. She was one of those people that had crazy money. But I want to before this new year, but I have... Yeah, man. So that's my problem, right? It always comes down to finances for me. Not necessarily time. It comes down to money. For me, being on the East Coast, it's definitely not cheap to fly to the West Coast. And, hotels aren't cheap. So it's just one of those things. I got to kind of time some stuff. But I don't know, man. I'm just rambling at this point. I enjoyed hanging out with you all tonight. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got something out of the Martin Hildebrandt stuff. I know we only talked about Martin the first half hour, 40 minutes of this show. But, again, not a lot of information out there, but definitely worthy of covering. And for those of you, hours ahead of us, I appreciate the fact that you made time to hang out with us. Drag, I know it's super late for you, dude. Super stoked that you made it tonight. And I enjoy hanging out with all of you. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I will catch you all on Sunday. Keep an eye out for the Mike Schwager episode. It's an incredible interview. It will be coming out here within the next couple days. And if not, I will definitely see you all on Sunday. Have a great night, folks. Be safe. Peace.